Vanchikapachurishya, Kripasadevya Vacha, Patitanam Gaudiya Vaisnava Vyo Namo Namaha, Namo Om Vishnuvadaya, Krishna Pastaya Bhutale, Srimate Gour Govinda Swami, Niti Namine, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srila Gour Govinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavats everyone. Vanchikapachurishya, Kripasadevya Vacha, Patitanam Gaudiya Vaisnava. Glories to our beloved Gurudeva, Srila Gour Govinda Swami, Namo Vishnuvadaya, Krishna Pastaya Bhutale, Srimate Gour Govinda Swami, Niti Namine. So as we began last night, after Vyasapuja, I thought I would start just a brief, it'll be 2, 3, 4 nights on Gurudev's life, and it's based on the first book we did, Krishna Gita Vigraha, and then the second book we did on Gurudev's Glories in Life, Encountering, and then the third book we did, as I explained last night, Gour Govinda Swami, Who Was He? And then in the association, just try to learn the truth. And then in the association of pure devotees, Vrindavan 1975 and Mayapur 1979, major events, very major events, especially this one, Mayapur 1979. And then from in the association of pure devotees came this book, the Acarya, the Brahman and the Shilpi. And then we did, as an added extra, the exalted Bhakta Bhagavata, and then we did 100 transcendental splendors. So these books, and we did the Search for the Self-Realized Soul, which you can see on the net, and also on Amazon you can see the latest version, part 1 of volume 1 of the life story, enlarged and revised edition. And these are all books on the glories of His Divine Grace, Srila Acharya Thakur Gour Govinda Swami Maharaja. If you don't know his glories and how glorious he is, and what a great Acharya he is, and what a great Acharya he is in our Brahma Mother Gaudiya line, if you study these books, you'll be very amazed. So, we're reading from this 108 Transcendental Splendors, and we're up to part, or section 36. And this is Guru Maharaj who's been wandering throughout India for almost 6 months, and then he ended up in Vrindavan. And then he was wandering along, he said, just wandering. And he saw a sign, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And he said what caught his mind was the word international. Because Gurudeva had never left India basically. And he'd never seen Westerners. He'd never seen Westerners with bald head, Sika, Kantimala, bead bags, saffron dhoti, saffron kurta, saffron wrap, etc. He'd never seen, Dandavats Jagadish Vaji, Dandavats. He'd never seen that, so he saw International Society of Krishna Consciousness, and it was just a construction site. There was a slab for the temple, that was all, and some reinforced steel sticking out of the concrete, and a little house, which was the house of the founder Acharya. And he read on that sign, Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and he thought, let me go in. And he went in and someone offered him a magazine, and he read the article by Prabhupada, and the article spoke about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna, and the Bhagavatam. And that's where he was going to stay, where he found those 3 things. So he asked the secretary, can I see the founder Acharya? And the secretary gave him the 3rd degree. The secretary gave him the 3rd degree. Why do you want to see Prabhupada? What's your business? Etc, etc, etc. So after a short while, the secretary went in to see A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It was midday. and A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was reclining on his rock. He'd just finished lunch. And the secretary said, Prabhupada, I think there's an Indian sadhu here, and I think he's an Indian sadhu, he wants to see you. Prabhupada said, send him in. So Guru Maharaj went in. He was no longer Brajabandha Manik. He changed his name to Gaura Gopalananda Das. Gaura after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Gopal after the famous family deity at the famous Galagiri temple and village in Orissa, Gopalju. So Sri Gaura Gopalananda walks in to meet His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and pays full dandavats. And Guru Maharaj said, just as he was getting up, Prabhupada said to him, have you taken sannyas? Guru Maharaj said, I haven't. And Prabhupada said to him, if you stay here, I'll give you sannyas. And that was it, that was the catalyst. And Sri Gaura Gopalananda Das, who had renounced family life, had renounced everything, and wandered India looking for a bona fide guru to give him entrance into the preaching mission of Mahaprabhu and sannyas, he said, I surrendered on the spot. I surrendered on the spot. And there are many ideas of how Guru Maharaj came to Vrindavan and how he met Prabhupada, and I've read many of them, and I've heard many of them, and most are totally incorrect. No offence. Totally incorrect. From the original interviews I did with Gurudeva, His Divine Grace Srila Gour Govinda Swami, he even had it noted down in his notebook at what time he met Prabhupada. September 15, 1974 at midday. He had it written in his little Bhagavad Gita that he carried around, this book he carried with him. And he said, I'll give you sannyas. And Guru Maharaj, that was it. That was the catalyst. So Guru Maharaj said when he saw the Westerners with their bald head, and he said, and dhoti, and saffron dhoti, he said, it looked very nice. He said it was like, oh, very nice. Vaikuntha mood, he said. It was very nice looking at it. And when he got the magazine, he read the article, he realised that when he read the article, he realised this is what I'm looking for. So there's one devotee there, one of the original managers and builders of the temple was Gunadeva Das. Gunadeva Prabhu is still active devotee, and he was one of the main members of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness that managed and built that temple. And he said, when His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and His Divine Grace Acarya Srila Gour Govinda Swami met in Vrindavan on the Raman Reddy land, it is as if they already knew each other. But then he looked at me and he said, that's not possible because they never physically met. But they knew each other. And he said from that point on, we didn't get so much of Prabhupada's association. Mainly, he was spending his time with Gour Govinda Swami, and Gour Govinda Swami was spending his time with him. And he said, I saw it. He said, I was there all the time, I saw it. And mainly they spoke in Hindi, he said. Mainly. And he said Guru Maharaj was the first one at Mangaladi. It was as if he didn't eat and he didn't sleep. That's what Gunadeva said, as if, I never saw him eat, I never saw him sleep. He said, I don't know where he slept, I don't know where he ate, because I didn't see him. I remember when I met Gunadeva, and he said to me, oh, I know your Guru Maharaj, and I thought, oh, here we go, here's another one, they know Guru Maharaj, and they talk some story that's... But he knew Guru Maharaj, he was right there. And he glorified, he was one of the few disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada that glorified Guru Maharaj to no end. No offence everyone, but he's one of the few. Glorified Guru Maharaj to no end. So, and he said, when I did the interview, minimum 5 times, he said, we Westerners, we were just mlechers, meat eaters, we took drugs, we were just out of it people, we were hippies, he said. But we got a chance to serve A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We got that chance. But he said, your Guru Maharaj, when he stepped on the property, he was a cultured Vaishnava gentleman. And I could see, and he said it 5 times in the interview, he had a special relationship with Krishna, totally different to all of us. It was a totally different relationship. It was not some new boy on the block. And of course, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada set Guru Maharaj up with translating the books into Hindi immediately, and the Hindi translations began. As soon as Guru Maharaj walked onto the property, Prabhupada engaged immediately, start translating my books into Hindi. Of course, that was stopped by Gopal Krishna and Yasomati Nandan because they said his Hindi's not so good, but Prabhupada liked his Hindi. Anyway, Guru Maharaj said it wasn't a worry because he was translating the books in Arya, and that was a massive job. That was if you look at everything Gurudeva translated from A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's commentaries in English to Arya, massive effort. Sometimes he would translate 18 hours a day. 18 hours. So Gurudeva was on the Raman Reddy land, and as I said yesterday, he joined at a construction site. There was no temple. Temple was like a hut with a lean-to, and they all stood there in the morning and had Mangaladi on the sand. You know. So when he met Prabhupada, he was A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he was proficient in the Mahabharata, Ramayana, Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavatam, so many books. He was very proficient. Of course, his Diksha Gurus, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And here's a quote now. I'll read number 38. Next one is, he never joined a temple, as I said. He joined at a construction site in Raman Reddy, Vrindavan, and was then sent to the jungle, not forest, of Orissa, to build and open a temple. This area still had tigers, elephants, and bears roaming wild. The land was also infested with snakes and scorpions. And he did this all alone. Lone warrior, real lone warrior, lone sadhu. And this is Gunanava Prabhu's statement. We were all Prabhupada soldiers. We were all from lecture families. We were from the West, taking drugs. You know, we were really out of it people. It's very honest. You know. I always see my relationship with Prabhupada like that. I will always be a soldier. That is what soldiers do. They work hard. But then he said, but Srila Gour Govinda Swami was not a foot soldier. He was special. He had a special connection with Prabhupada. Very honest. Not envious person. So then, Prabhupada subsequently gave him Harinam, Gayatri Mantra, etc., and then sent him to the jungle of Orissa with one devotee, one brahmachari. And they got to the land, and that brahmachari was very scared. And he said to Gurudeva, he says, we have to leave here. We can't stay here. The dacoits will come and they'll kill us. And Gurudeva said, well, you can go. But Prabhupada said, stay and build a temple. I'm not going. And this brahmachari said to Gurudeva, you're a new man. you're a junior devotee. You've only been in the movement a few weeks or whatever it was, month or two or something. He said, you have to go. We're going and you have to come. So Gurudev said he had to go. He was a junior devotee and that brahmachari was a senior devotee, so Gurudev went. When he went then they went to Hyderabad, because there was a festival there. From Calcutta they went to Hyderabad, and Prabhupada saw Guru Maharaj and said, what are you doing here? And Guru Maharaj said, well, we couldn't stay there. Well, I could stay there, but I was made to come back. Anyway, Gurudev said to Prabhupada, when will you give me sannyas? Because that was the thing. If you gave him sannyas, he could stay there by himself. Prabhupada said, you're coming to the festival, Ram Navami, for the installation of the Guru Maharaj said, definitely. Prabhupada said, I'll give you sannyas then. So Guru Maharaj went to Vrindavan, and there was a moratorium on sannyas. Because too many sannyasis falling down. Because Prabhupada gave sannyas, in the words of our beloved Guru, to people that weren't fit, but the movement had to move forward. And to move forward you need sannyasis. It's just the fact of life. For instance, Ramanujacharya had 700 sannyas disciples and 13,000 brahmachari disciples. I mean, plus all the grihastas. Yeah. So the preaching, the temples are run by brahmacharis and sannyasis. This is Vedic culture, right? The temples are run by brahmacharis and sannyasis, and they do the preaching. And the grihastas come and help. They may cook offering, they may bless the dinner, but the temple, the mainstay, the backbone, right, is the sannyasis and the brahmachari. So Gurudev said, his divine spiritual master, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, created sannyasis out of these people, but they were not really ready. But anyway, it had to be done. So there was a moratorium on sannyas. 1975. The deities are about to be installed in Ramanreti, Vrindavan, ISKCON temple. So there was two people to take sannyas, one other brahmachari and our beloved Gurudev, Srila Gour Govinda Swami. So Gurudev took sannyas at that festival. Hari Soy was there, Bhima Das was there, saw it. Jayantakrit Das saw it, Riddha saw it. There was quite a few. They saw Guru Maharaj take sannyas. And Guru Maharaj took sannyas, and then Prabhupada sent him to Orissa by himself in the middle of nowhere. No money, no men, no books, nothing. And the instructions Prabhupada gave Guru Maharaj was, Vaishnava is never alone. Krishna is always with him. Cooks his own food, he washes his own cloth, grows his own vegetables. So Gurudev said he's trying to grow some vegetables. And he did that. So then he went to Orissa. And he went to the land. And that's a big history, but we'll just carry on with the points here. So that was it's a big 38. Then Guru Maharaj had 1976, Ram Navami had built a hut on the property, had it fenced in with some of the villagers, and the family members from Galagiri all came and they cleared it, they fenced it off, they planted banana palms, mango,
coconut,
pawpaw trees, banana palms like that, and the locals said it looked very nice. But when the devotees got there, they said there was just nothing there. There was just empty, barren land. Anyway, so Prabhupada had one brahmachari go there. The first brahmachari ever to go. And his name was David Das. And this is what he said when he met Guru Maharaj. He got to the property. He said from the train station he got a rickshaw, but the rickshaw wallah he got lost, as everyone did. He ended up somewhere else. And then finally they took him to the property. And this is what David Dam said. He said, then of course I met for the first time His Holiness Gour Govinda Maharaj. I could immediately appreciate that here is a true Vaishnava. His whole appearance, his humility, his tone of voice, everything about him made me feel relieved and happy to be in his company. He was not like the other sannyasis. By David Damdas, first devoted to arrive in Bhubaneswar to assist with the project. I'm going to read it again because it's quite a nice, the way he says it's very nice. David Dam speaks very nicely. Englishman, well spoken.
Irishman.
Oh, he's Irish, is he? Okay. Then, of course, I met for the first time His Holiness Gour Govinda Maharaj. I could immediately appreciate that here is a true Vaishnava. His whole appearance, his humility, his tone of voice, everything about him made me feel relieved and happy to be in his company. He was not like the other sannyasis. David Dam said Guru Maharaj never asked him once to wash his cloth, to cook for him, to do anything for him, and never chastised him because he didn't sell enough books. He said if you sold one book or many books, Guru Maharaj was very happy that you went out, did Harinam and preached. He was so happy. And then another brahmachari came, his name's Pundarik Vidyanidhi Das. So David Dam and Pundarik Vidyanidhi would go out together and do Sankirtan. They would sell books, do Harinam. Right? And then they would do programs. Guru Maharaj, Pundarik Vidyanidhi and David Damdas in the night. They'd go to different villages' houses or different places. You know, Kirtan, Guru Maharaj would speak, and etc. And David Dam said it was just the three of them. And then after a while they sort of forced the issue and made Guru Maharaj forced him to allow them to cook. You know, Guru Maharaj said, well, Prabhupada said I have to cook my own meals and wash my own clothes. And they said, yeah, but there's three of us, we'll take turns, we'll roster it. Because Guru Maharaj was cooking for them. And David Dam said, we'll all take turns. So Guru Maharaj was very humble. And yeah, I mean, all they had, what they used to eat was every day, once a day, khichdi or rice and dalma. Dalma is the famous Oriya dal dish with the thick veggies. And I remember when everyone used to come from overseas, they'd learn from Sadhu, who was Guru Maharaj's cook, how to cook dalma. So when Guru Maharaj went to England or America or Australia, wherever, they could make dalma and then they could offer it to Gurudeva, you know. And I think one time they made it here and Guru Maharaj said, why are there frozen vegetables in the dalma? And I said, I don't know. So, and David Dam said they didn't go to the sweet shops looking for sweet yogurt or sweets. He said if they got a banana now and again, that was really good. You know, that was their sweet, a banana. Or maybe a mango. But he said a banana was very amazing to get a banana. That was their sweet. But mainly dalma and rice or khichdi bas once a day. Kirtan, preaching, Harinam, book distribution, bas. He said it was actually perfect brahmachari life. And he said, under the guidance of Gour Govinda Swami, he said it was amazing because he said he never yelled, he never screamed, he never got angry, he never threw things at them, nothing. You know?
How long was he there for?
1.5, 2 years maybe. I said last night, bearing in mind they're all living in that hut, a straw mat, which is pretty thin, and if you get cold, pull your wrap over yourself, no mosquito nets. There is no mosquito nets. So then there was another devotee, his name's Abhinandan Das. And he said, I was in Bhubaneswar with Gour Govinda Swami in 1975 for a 6-month period. I think that date's wrong, but anyway. And he says, I did not see him sleep once. I did not see him sleep. That's what he said. Of course, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he said, Guru Maharaj was a devotee from his birth, and that's what I was saying when he took sannyas. The then GBCs and big devotees and most are not around anymore. They said, complained, why is he taking sannyas? He's a new man. And Srila Prabhupada turned around to them and said, and they're witnesses to this, said, you are all new men. He's a devotee from his birth, and that's the difference. And we have to be very, careful understanding of the fact that we may join a movement and we may be there 10 years. Some new man comes and he could be light years ahead of us spiritually, but we can't see that, so we commit offence. I've been around 5 years, 4 years, 7 years, I'm this, I'm that. What are you, Baba? Nothing. Worm in stool. Nothing. We're nothing. What did Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? Get all the names in the universe, put mine at the bottom. And Gurudeva used to say, if there's a list of names, his should be at the bottom, not at the top. Back bencher gets praying, not front bencher. So some new person comes, we should be very careful, because we don't know who he is. He's a new man. That new man that they said, he's a new man, was born, as I said yesterday, in the most famous Gaudiya Kirtaniya family in Orissa, who were mystics, renunciants, great Vaisnavas. And that deity of Gopal Jew came all the way from Vrindavan to Gadagiri, was put in the hands of Gopal Giri, Guru Maharaj's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, so he could hear the kirtan of the Gadagiri Kirtan. It's just not a normal thing. And the whole story around that is amazing. And he's a new man, and he was trained. Everything they were learning in the movement, Guru Maharaj was trained from his first days on this planet. So yeah, new man, we have to be very careful. He's a new man.